Alright, so today guys, we're going to be making a tier list, and this is something I've always wanted to do for this specific set of games. So this is the Megaman games, which if you don't know me, I'm a very big Megaman fan. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna look at a couple games. We're gonna give my honest opinions on a good chunk of them. I'm going to put immediately any of the ones I don't know. But most of these are just Japanese ones that are kind of either fan games or other stuff. So anytime I see any of them, I'm going down here. I have stolen this from online because I was too lazy to put all of these games together myself. Alright, so we're going to start off with the GBA Mega Man games. Alright, so this game is this is 4? Oh, it's 5. Oh no, it's 4. Okay, that aside. Remember this one, this is the Planets one. That's one of the better GBA Mega Man games. It's fun to play. I mean, you have a rocket arm that goes back and forth. You get to use Pluto, the Pluto power, which is kind of memes. But it's an overall really good game because like it's one of the ones on the Game Boy that actually works well. It's not as clunky as some of them, while it still uses a good chunk of the engine from the previous one. But yeah, it's pretty good. Let's see, we have Mega Man 6, which I'm gonna put above that one. Mega Man 6 is my favorite from the original NES games. Not to say the classic Mega Man games, but the NES games. It has the most diverse, cast itself. By cast, I mean type of robot masters. We got Centaur Man and a whole bunch of other random stuff like that, as well as because some of the platforming, if you're not used to it, it's kind of hard. You can get the rush jump or the rush jetpack ability, and that helps make all of those way easier. So it's a lot nicer. Right. The Wily Wars. So this, unfortunately for me, when I played it, is very meh out of 10. So what it does, it goes through the first 3 Mega Man games, and then it's on the Genesis and they're revamped, but it kind of like ruins part of it, which is the real problem. So that's what I have to say about that. It's not a bad, but it could have been better. Right. So X4 is one of my definitely top 10. It's probably hovering about 6 or 7. Because if you go play this game and you look at like the art they had in it, and I'm not even getting to gameplay yet, but like if you go to I don't remember the name, even though I speedran this at one point, the Spider Boss. If you go and look at the background, you can see like each individual thing's of water. Like that stage is beautiful. They put so much effort into all of those that it was like, yeah, that's really cool, and a whole bunch of stuff like that. It was it was really, really good. As well as it's the first time that like you play as Zero alone, rather than, because in X3 you could switch to him and it was pretty cool, but it was really good because you got 2 different stories while they fight the same bosses, except for the exception of one. It felt different because of how the playstyles are, so it made it, the replayability went up a lot on that one. Alright, so X8. So X8 is one of my favorite Mega Man X games. It's my second favorite X game. And if you don't figure it out now, throughout this list you'll understand that I'm more of an X fan than any of the other ones. X8 is the game I speedran at GDQ back in 2017, but the game takes what X7 did wrong and it makes it fun. Because it brings back the buddy system. However, if one character dies, the other one doesn't. They just teleport out there like, hey, it's your turn, and then you can't use them unless you want to revive them, and you have to go through a whole bunch of stuff for that. But all of the levels are really solid. The only thing it suffers from is loading times, as the loading times is really most of it, and it has one more auto-scroller than it would like, but the music is fantastic. If you go listen to Jacob's Elevator music or Lumine Second, it's so good. But they have amazing themes. It's fun to play. Would recommend. Alright, moving on. This is Mega Man 5. So Mega Man 5 isn't that bad. It's okay. That's all I really have to say about it, because like I enjoyed it. Starman's power is kind of fun, but otherwise it's not really memorable to me, if that makes sense. Because I have played it, it's alright. So this is, I can't tell what either of these, because I played the GBA games, but I played them all together and all like on the actual. I don't have the copies of the game, so I played them on an emulator. So I don't really know which one's which, but the only one I really liked was the one in space. So I'm gonna probably put these all down here when we get to them. But I have played the Game Boy Color Mega Man Extreme 2, and it's okay. The graphics are really funny. They took previous bosses and did a whole bunch of stuff with that, so then you could. I mean, it's a side story where they bring back the other bosses, but you get to play Zero on the GBA, which is kind of cool. It's a pretty good game. Extreme 1, however, suffers from lack of learning controls, and that it just doesn't work very well. Because what Extreme 2 did is they gave you Zero, and Zero just makes it a lot better. As well as they gave the upgrades you get in the game for X2 or Extreme 2, they allow you to work a little better because their movement, because of how bad the movement is. So yeah. Also, I just realized this tier list has multiples of like the same thing. That's kind of unfortunate. But Trombone, I have not played. I have been meaning to, but haven't. So Mega Man 11, I'm actually putting this above X8. Mega Man 11 was fantastic. If I ever do Let's Plays on this channel, it'll probably be one of them. But Mega Man 11 is a fantastic callback because it takes what like 9 and 10 did by bringing back the old style and just being like, hey, we're still the same game, but we're here to improve, you know? Like, every single weapon has an upgraded version. It uses more of them, but you get more use out of the weapons. I can't think of any weapon, really, where it's not, like, a cool extra use. Sure, you may not know about something because they're, like, really, like, not technical, but, like, they're, like, specifically for one part. But, like, the fact that they can do all of that, and they put all the stuff in, so like you can find out different things, you can keep playing it. It's just a ton of fun. So Mega Man and Bass, I'm gonna get to that one on. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the but why tier because I'll get to the original Mega Man and Bass. This is the Game Boy version. That one belongs here. That's all I'm saying. All right. So this one is I'm gonna put the other Battle Network 5. 5 was a good one. It's one of the ones I enjoyed. I chose Team Proto Man just because he's red. But the Battle Network games are good. They're a lot of fun. You have to have a little more patience than you would for a normal Mega Man game, which is why I didn't rush through them. But they're really solid games. Really solid games. I would recommend if you want. I'd probably stick with 3 or 4. Those are better ones, but they're good games. They're definitely unique. So 03, I'm gonna put 03 in A tier, right beneath X4. We'll get to my favorite Zero game in a second, but well, not in a second. It'll be wherever it is on this list. But 03 took what 1, in addition, like 2 did this as well. But 03 introduced a whole bunch of things. They have chips, and you can do different things with each part that you find or create. And they added the rod. Or no, that's 2. No, 3 is the rod. Yeah, they added the rod, which is one of the sickest weapons ever because it allows so much movement. You can use it to bounce off the ground and a whole bunch of cool stuff like that. It's just super sick, and that's it. It's a really good game. The Zero games are really hard though. So then X1, I'm gonna put this in A tier. I'll put it above X4 and 03. Although the main reason for that is what it did for the series, because the game itself is amazing. I can't really think of any flaws. It's just the other ones like came back and did those as well. The game is amazing. If you have not played that game, please go play X1. It's on so many things these days. This is the X Collection. It's a fantastic game. It has good music. The gameplay is fun. It's just overall like a must play in my opinion. This is the Japanese version, so I'm going to put that there. Legends 2. Legends 2 is a good game. I'm putting this at the bottom of A tier. It's going to stay there. I haven't been able to finish Legends 1 or 2 because on Legends 1 I've had the game crash like near the end, and then I lost my save data, and at that point I was like, yeah, I'm 30 hours in because I'm slow when I play the games and like that. So I was like, yeah, it's a different time. So it's a really good game. It's also known as Rockman Dash, but it's a good game. I'm realizing I'm just saying it's a good game a lot. I didn't think there would be this many because I forgot just how many Megaman games there were. But we'll figure it out as we go. Alright, so Megaman and Bass. So this one goes to the top of B tier. So one of the key differences between the GBA version and the SNES version is the GBA version, if you think about, or we'll talk about the SNES version, just think about this. Think about, just for ease, think of something where it's 1920 by 1080 versus something that's like 640 by 380 or 480, something like that. That's the comparison, but instead of scaling the game, they just shortened the window. So you can't see anything that's happening, so it's just really annoying and not really fun to play. Yeah. Oh wait, is this the... This is the good one. Never mind. My bad, I miss Saw. So Mega Man 64, we're just going to put this down there because we're just going to talk about Legends because I prefer that name. Okay, so Maverick Hunter X. I'm putting that probably right here. So the Maverick Hunter X is a remake of X1, and it does a couple things new. It adds a whole bunch of cutscenes. It adds its own like little anime short, or by short I mean basically an episode. I think it's 20 minutes. It's really beautifully done. However, the gameplay lacks a little bit. It includes everything previously, but the biggest flaw of the game is it got the momentum incorrect from what all the other X games have. So that was the real big flaw with it for me. And that's really what it did wrong. It's a remake of X1, but it did that wrong. So then we have X7, and all I'm going to say is burn to the ground, because that's where it deserves to be. Because I hate it. I hate it so much. Legends 1. So Legends 1 is a good one. It's not A tier, because I like the Legends 2 more than Legends 1. I also already kind of explained my reasoning for stuff, so I'll put it right here. Because of how much I liked X, I did like that more, so I'm pretty sure that's why that's there. But, yeah. So X6, I personally do not like, but the reason it's the top of D tier is because of how good the music is in the game. And a lot of people are like, but X6, it's part of the original 6, it's supposed to be one of the good ones. The game is just obscenely stupid. I'll take the quote, "I hid myself while I repaired myself," and kind of leave it at that. It was really unfortunate, because not that game, but X7, we'll go to X7 real quick. So X7 unfortunately did a thing where they like took out everything the 4 through 6 had about pertaining to Zero and Wily, or I'm not sure, but it's Wily, it's pretty obvious. So we don't really know why it did that, and they just threw it in the trash, and they took the cool thing they were doing and just threw it away, and it was really annoying. But yeah, we got 04. 04 is a good one. I like 04. I'll put it below Legends, but 04 is good. They had good music. They had a better story in 04 than they did in definitely 1 and 3. Because they actually I'd argue it has a better story than 2, because it's about survival as well as what you have to do to survive, and like the difference between humans and robots, and like how or Reploids and how they go about that. And I thought that was really cool. So while they do add a new thing, which is like grabbing stuff, it's not super useful. It's a cool thing to do. They make you do it a couple times, but yeah. Alright, so ZX Advent. So we'll get to ZX eventually, but ZX Advent, it's right here. ZX Advent, actually no, it's a little higher. It's right there. Actually no, it's above X. Okay, final spot right here. So ZX Advent did a great job of taking what ZX did and making different things, because it allows you to use Axel's ability from X7 and 8 to transform into other people, or people, I mean Mavericks, or not I forget what they're called, Mitos or Mutos. Other people that have abilities to be able to turn into them. That was really cool. However, in the entire game, you always find yourself switching to just a few, and when you got ZXs, you find yourself just staying ZX, because ZX is busted. But yeah. Alright, so X5. X5 holds a special place in my heart, because it was the first one I ever played. However, I don't think it's going to get into A tier. It's probably going to go to the top of B tier for right now. So X5 did the cool stuff where you're allowed to switch between X and 0 for the first time, because when you chose X or 0 and X4, you were stuck with that character the whole game. However, in X5, you're able to switch between. It had 2 sets of armor for X, which was cool. However, it had a time limit. They had the weird Sigma virus stuff. They were trying to do a little too much, and it just made it confusing for a good chunk of people I know. But it has good music. Alright. So I'm going to stick all of the Mega Man Star Force 1s together. Star Force 1 I thought was good. Putting it above... Actually, I'm moving this down. Sorry. It deserves to be down there. I can't decide ever. And then this will go here. I forgot what game I just put up there. Well, whatever game I put where, it deserves that. In my Star Force. So Star Force 1, I played those before. I played the GBA, the Battle Network series, and it took what the Battle Network series did and made it 3D-ish. So Battle Network is horizontal, and it made it vertical, so then you could have you on the bottom and then them on the top, or your cards on the bottom, but you on the top, and you look forward, which is really cool. It had a good story. It made you feel something. Compared to Battle Network, doesn't do that all the way for me. But it was good. This one is the first one in GBA. This also belongs down here. It's not the best one. It's probably my least favorite one. 0-2. 0-2 is it's my favorite Mega Man Zero game. Because it takes everything the first one did and made it good. Because the first one was good, don't get me wrong, but it has a good story. You get to see things that continued from the X series. Like, you get to see the result of what happens to X and a whole bunch of other stuff like that, as well as it adds it has the different types and whatnot it takes from the first one, but it gives you more stuff to do with it, as well as it gives you not the recoil red, but the little chain, and you're able to do a whole bunch of cool things and sick things with movement. So it just makes it a lot of fun. Yeah, Mega Man 10. Mega Man 10 was a good one. I'd probably put that just under 6. It was a really good one. They basically just did Mega Man 9 and made it, in my opinion, a little worse. But it was so fun to play, so like I can't complain too much. Yeah, that goes up there. So Rockman X Over. So this was a mobile game only released in Japanese. I think that actually goes below X7. I was like, man, there's going to be nothing under X7. There's something under X7. There's something under X7, it's that. Because it's actually just a terrible fun game. Which is what it is. It's a terrible fun game. And I don't know why. Well, I know, because, I mean, you can't really do much about it, but, like, it's just really, really bad. Alright. So moving on, this is... Okay, that's Mega Man 7, but I saw this one here. So Mega Man 7, I'm going to put at the bottom of A tier. So a lot of people, there's a lot of misconceptions about 7. In my opinion, it takes what the other ones does. It finally brought it to SNES, so it looks better, while it keeps the charm from the original by keeping everyone having the same poses and whatnot. It provides a very, very real challenge. Not to say the other ones don't, but the final boss, if you haven't fought that, oh boy, are you in for a treat. Because it's just insane. So it just goes, if you don't have all your E-tanks, or you're not good, you're gonna die. Pretty fast. But it's a sick game. It has even cool, like, Ghosts and Goblins references as well. While I know that shouldn't talk for much, it's still pretty good. Alright, so Battle Network 2. This one was meh, in my opinion. It didn't really do all that much. The first one was a little better. We're gonna leave Mega Man 3 because I'm pretty sure I saw the actual things down here. So this is Mega Man 9. I forgot how weird it looks. So Mega Man 9 is my second favorite Mega Man classic game, because it, after the big hiatus for 8 years, it just went, and it's an amazing game. Also, I just realized something else, but I'll get to that later, and you can call me stupid, it's fine. But Mega Man, it has, I'd argue it's better than 11 in music-wise, but it has in my opinion, it has the best music in this series. I listened for that on end. It brought back the classic challenge. Well, I know some people don't like the fact that it didn't move forward, but it just brought back all the nostalgia. All the weapons are useful. They're all fun. You have to think. It's a blast and something that's amazing to go through. And I'm glad I got to play it. It's one of those games I look back and be like, yes, I loved that game. If that makes sense. Like, it's just one of the ones where, like, I love that game, and I plan on, like, playing it at some point again. But yeah. Alright, so next we're going to talk about this one, Mega Man Powered Up. This one goes above Extreme 2. It takes Mega Man 1, makes it all chibi, and then adds 3 more bosses. So the reason it's low is not because of the style or the gameplay, it's because Mega Man 1 isn't that good in general. So it just belongs down there. It's gonna be higher than Mega Man 1 by about 1 space. At least for me, personally. Alright. And then we're going to move on to Star Force 3. So Star Force 3, in my opinion, was the best one they had. I enjoyed it the most. It finished off the series. Well, not the series, but like what Geo, the main character, had been doing for the entire like thing. I'm not going to say what it was, because in case you want to go play it, but it ended what he needed to, what he wanted to do, and they did it, and that was really, really cool. Yeah. Right. So Command Mission. This is a B tier game. Right here. So Command Mission is an RPG. And it's what it is. It's a solid RPG. It's extremely similar to Final Fantasy X. 10-1. It's very similar to that. If you're an RPG fan, I'd definitely recommend checking out. It's a good time. You get to play with all the characters. While it's not a platformer, it's still fun. You got 0-1. In my opinion, it's the most inferior game of the Zero series, but it's still a really good one. Because the Zero series is 4 long, but it's really good. It has a story, and it makes you go through Zero's emotions, as well as this is when he comes back, and then it continues on what happens after the X series, and it's really good. So ZX, in my opinion, is definitely better than ZX Advent. I'm gonna actually put it right. Yeah, right here. So ZX is like, hey, you know the Zero games? We ended that, so we want to put one on the DS. And they added the ZX, which was really cool because it not only took like what you were doing in Zero, it gave you that, as well as you could change between different forms. So a whole bunch of the like big boy bosses you run into in the Zero series, or really just the first game, it lets you turn into them, or like a form of them, and you get to go around using their powers as well. So like you're allowed to switch between those, and it combines Zero and X's, because what it does is it makes Zero have a good buster. That's what it is. That's all it does. And it uses it in 1, and it's a ton of fun to play. It's the first Mega Man game that's Metroidvania style as well. And there's a whole bunch to do, and it was just a good time. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can I'll find the Mega Man one. We'll get to it eventually. So then this also goes with that. I played Red Joker. So there's original Battle Network. Original Battle Network is definitely worse than Zero for just the way I like to play games. But it's the first Battle Network game, and it did pretty good. Like it started that horizontal, like kind of RPG-esque kind of way it was going, and it just did a good job with it. It's the reason it spawned 5 sequels after it, or 6 if you're counting Shooting Star. But it's a good game. It's a lot of fun. You get to mess with cards, deal with those, and it's a good time. So we got Mega Man 8. Jump, jump, slide, slide. I kind of enjoy it, but it's not a game. It's very slow. It's very slow. And that's the real reason it gets hindered that much. It's because it's a very charming game. You get to, like, everything's pretty, but it's not really fun to play. At least to me, it's not very fun to play. Alright, so Mega Man 3. We're going to talk about Mega Man 3. So Mega Man 3 is also one of my favorite of these. It's actually probably right there. So Mega Man 3 has the best music between the first 6 games, as well as it has some of the 6 gameplay. Because especially if you watch a speedrun, you want to watch Mega Man 3 for the first 6. At least, unless you like a whole bunch of glitches, then you want to watch Mega Man 1 or Mega Man 2. But Mega Man 3 is just solid platforming. The weapons are all fun. Although I'd probably recommend playing one of the newer ones, or newer ones you could just play the Mega Man Legacy Collection. But yeah, it's a good time. Okay, we're gonna talk about I can put this in here. We're talking about Battle Network 4. In my opinion, it is the best Battle Network. I'll put it right. It's better than that one. I'll put these both right next to each other. So 4 is the one that made the best impact. It's also, I think it's the most selling game of the 6 games, and it's the one I started out with because I already kind of knew the Battle Network storyline through what's it called? Through watching the anime, because I watched the anime when I was younger. So the 4 just, it does the most. It has a better story, in my opinion, as well as it just keeps the game. Like, unfortunately for the Battle Network series, it's the same throughout. There's not really many new mechanics they can add in, so there's not really much to talk about there. But it's a good one. All right, so I'm assuming I'm just gonna run into copies of these because I don't really want to deal with that. Okay, so then 3 is still better than 1. I'll probably put that right above Command Mission. It's a solid game. Not really much to be said aside from like what was already said about it a second ago. So yeah, this is Battle Network 1, but in a different language. So Network Transmission is the Battle Network game for the GameCube. It goes right there. If you want to know, you can go play the game yourself. Yeah, that's a game. Unfortunately, this list is getting too big to contain. It's getting too big to contain. So you guys, you can see a little bit. So this one is Battle Network 6. 6 is the one that has beasts in it. It's there. That's where it is. That's where it is. And I'm gonna do a quick zoom out because, unfortunately, I'm stupid. So I apologize for this editing. Okay, there's not much I can do. It's unfortunate. Well, yeah, there's something I can do. Control minus. Okay. Look, we're almost there. Right. So this is Star Force 2 and just 2. Star Force 2, I didn't like as much as I like Star Force 1. I thought they were pretty okay, though. I'll put them in C tier. Because this, again, it falls into the same thing that, like, it gives you a form per game, as well as that's what the first one does, and it's just a form. That's what it is. I can't really commentate on it that much. So, yeah. So we got Mega Man Soccer. Let me tell you, Mega Man Soccer, that is a good time. I won a tournament at GDQ playing this. It's a good time, but only if you have friends, so it's a C tier. Who has friends? Alright. That one I don't know. This is Pegasus, so this goes with them up here. Okay. Now we're going to talk about my all-time favorite Mega Man game. Mega Man X2. Mega Man X2 is my favorite Mega Man game. It's an X game. It took what 1 did, added in a whole bunch of mechanics, like it added in air dashing. It took what the first one's like, hey, we have to make it better, and they put the Shoryuken in there. They made the game better to me. That's what it was. Like, sure, X1 is amazing, but X2 is just more amazing because they just took something that was already amazing and just put more on it. As well as one of the first games to use the graphics chip. Actually, the only ones. I think there's only 7, if I recall correctly. So it's kind of cool, you know? Now we're talking about X3. X3 is a B tier. It's gonna go right above X5. So X3 tried to do kind of the same thing X2 did, but it added, I think, too much. It added in different endings. That's perfectly fine. That's cool. It let you take Zero Saber if you set everything up correctly. And let you use right armor. You could summon it. However, it was just, it's not too much. Like, even nowadays, it'd be too much for the amount of space. So like, you take a game like Hollow Knight and whatnot, or something that has a big map. X3 would be amazing for a Metroidvania game, not as much a game with certain stages. If that makes sense, because you'd also have paths in between and whatnot. And that's my opinion, but that's how I feel. So Street Fighter X Mega Man took what Mega Man has, and was like, hey, let's make a game out of it. I remember playing this. It's all right. It did some cool stuff, actually. Yeah, it's a fun time. If you really like the Street Fighter franchise, you'll enjoy it. But yeah, so this one I can't read. That one I can't read. Hopefully you guys can still see a little bit. Okay, Shooting Star. I actually really like Shooting Star, and you might say that's in Japanese, and you said you weren't going to do that. There's a patch out there, if you go and find it. So what it does is to crossover between Battle Network and Star Force. It's a good time. It integrates them both, even though they're kind of the same. Just one's like straightforward, like you're seeing something. You're a 3D person, and then the other one is just 2D. So I mean, it's just a cool like little thing they put together. I'll probably put that right above 10. This is something I don't know. That's something I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. Well, maybe I'm not. So yeah, that's my tier list when it comes to Mega Man games. You can see a lot of Y on there. That's because those are either repeats or Mega Man 4 isn't on there. Huh. Well, Mega Man 4 would go probably under Rockman 10 or Mega Man 10. And there you go. There's my Mega Man tier list. So, see ya.